This is Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse, episode number 20. Since it is the holiday season, today we are going to talk about the Disney shopping apps and also Black Friday shopping at Disney Springs in Walt Disney World.
Everything Disney, in and out of the house. Two grown-ups and a mouse.
Hi there, I'm AJ.
I'm Andrew.
And you are listening to Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was.
We went out to dinner.
At a golf club.
Yes, at a golf club.
Which is also, well, no, it's not a country club. We've discussed that.
Right. We looked up golf clubs versus country clubs. It was a buffet. It was in the ballroom, but it was nice that we didn't have to cook and we didn't have to clean.
More importantly, we didn't have to clean.
Yeah, probably.
That's always the downside to cooking.
Yeah. I mean, the food was okay. It wasn't like, oh my God, this food is so good. But it's not about the food all the time. Sometimes it's just about being with your family.
Absolutely.
So we had a nice Thanksgiving and hope that everybody else did. It wasn't very Disney though.
No.
But
at a golf club.
No, but you wore a Disney shirt.
I did.
And I wore a Disney dress.
See?
So we represented.
Absolutely.
So we're just going to get right into it.
Sounds good.
And today, because it's the holiday season,
right,
one of the things we thought we would talk about are the Disney shopping apps.
Right.
Which we talked about before, didn't we?
Well, in episode 5, we talked about the two shopping apps. I think we also talked a little bit about the actual Disney Parks app and the, I believe there's a kids app. And
oh, right. We talked about generalizations of the apps.
Right. So, but we can talk a little more detail on the two shopping apps because I think it's a point of confusion for some people.
So there's two apps.
There's two apps. There's the Shop Disney Parks app and the Shop Disney app. So they're even confusing with the way they name them.
Now, do they both have websites?
They do not. Only the Shop Disney has a website. It's the old DisneyStore.com website, which is now ShopDisney.com. And then the Shop Disney Parks app does not have a website. It's just an app.
Okay, so you have to download the app in order to do it.
Correct.
What about discounts? Do you get discounts on both apps?
You do, but they're different. So on the Shop Disney Parks app, they occasionally run sales, obviously. Sometimes free shipping. Sometimes it's spend X, save X. Well, spend X, save Y.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that before. Like spend 100, save 20, spend 75, save 15%, spend 100, save 20%. They don't have that now. That's just like an example of what I've seen.
Right. Just to get you to buy one extra little thing. That's usually the way that works. And then obviously, if you're a pass holder, you will get your normal pass holder discount. So right now it's 20%. So,
well, for Florida, I don't know if Disneyland is different.
I don't know if the Shop Disney Parks app even works for Disneyland. So, as we go a little further, you'll understand why I say that, because you can do a merchandise search in Disney World along with buying online. So some things you can buy online, some things you can't.
Right.
So, and I don't know if there's a Disneyland app or not.
So you said on the Shop Disney Parks app, you save 20%. But what about the discounts at shopdisney.com or the Shop Disney app?
Well, that one, the important one there is you do not get a pass holder discount. So there are other discounts. They'll do friends and family. They'll do free shipping if you spend X dollars, usually 75. I don't think I've ever seen it lower. I don't think I've ever seen it higher either, but
no, I think once in a while they'll do free shipping on 50 or on any purchase, but that's not the norm. It seems like the free shipping at 75 is a pretty standard, and currently the code for that is Ship Magic. Right. It doesn't do it automatically. You have to put in the code.
Yeah, and usually they're promoting it, so it's usually like on the front of the web page or front of the app. There'll be a big thing saying free shipping if you spend over $75. Enter this code when you check out. And if you look online, oftentimes there's other deals too. Even though you don't get the pass holder discount, it's really not that hard to make up for it if you look and you're a little lucky. oftentimes you can find a 10% off or 15% off or code somewhere on the internet.
What about discounts if you have a Disney Visa?
It is 10%. It has been 10% for ever and ever. Probably stay that way for a long time in the future. But always check just in case. But I don't think that one's ever going to go away or change or...
No, I think that's a big selling point for having the card.
Right.
And what's the code for that?
Right now it's DRVC member.
That makes sense. Disney Rewards Visa card member.
Right.
DRVC.
Yep. That's pretty much it for the discounts. It just always pays to look, especially with the Shop Disney one, because you find them sometimes. And sometimes they list them on the site. Like my other half here enjoys purses.
I would never.
So a lot of times they'll have a special on, they don't put the purse on sale, but they'll give you a little makeup bag that's, if you spend whatever, $150 or more on a Dooney and Bourke purse, they will give you a Dooney makeup bag.
Purchase with purchase.
Right.
It's $29. Because they do have that right now.
Right.
You spend $100 and you get a cosmetic bag for $29.
Right.
They seem to do that more often than not. I actually have one of those cosmetic bags. I did not purchase it that way, though. I was at the outlet, and they had gotten them at the outlet, and they sold them for the same price. They were $29. So it wasn't really a discount, except that it was nice that I didn't have to buy a purse that day in order to purchase the cosmetic bag, because on the Shop Disney website, the one that's also has it has the app and the website, the shopdisney.com.
Right. They
don't offer Dooney and Bourke purchases typically. Once in a while it'll go through, but the 10% sometimes doesn't work.
Sure.
And sometimes they'll come out with a purse and they'll only offer it on Shop Disney, not on these Shop Disney parks.
Right.
So I prefer to either buy the purse in person or to buy it at Shop Disney Parks, because we are pass holders and I want to get 20%. And these are substantial purchases.
Sure.
But that was why it was nice that I was able to get the cosmetic bag without having to make a purchase, because they just happened to have a bunch of them at the outlet. Because I don't buy a lot of my bags on the Shop Disney app or website.
Right.
Because, as I just explained. And so I don't always have that opportunity to buy the cosmetic bag.
Right.
But you kind of have to look for things, because, sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, if you're looking, and you did highlight one of the important points, that the Shop Disney Parks app versus Shop Disney, they have some of the same stuff, but mostly the Shop Disney Parks app is more geared as a complement to shopping in the Disney parks in Florida. Except they don't have everything.
They don't have food. Or you can...
They do have food. You can't ship food. 99% of the food items you can't ship.
I was going to say, they have it. You could see it. You can find it, but it'll say in-store only.
Correct. So, and sometimes you'll see the same a lot of times too with very limited edition merchandise or special event merchandise. You can find it on the app. Say you want a special T-shirt because there's a celebration. They just had a 90th, so I'm sure there's a bunch of 90th merchandise on the app, but some of it you wouldn't have been able to buy from home. So, but you could go there and say, oh, well, it's not in the Emporium, but it's at this shop in the back of the park. So that's one of the benefits to that app as well, is that if you see something you like, and maybe it's the wrong size or for whatever else, you can scan it and then it'll show you all of the stuff it is being sold at.
Oh, you mean if you're at the park?
Correct.
And you find a shirt that's a medium, but you need an extra large.
Right.
So you could scan it and it'll say find on map.
Right. And it'll show you maybe that shirt's available. Maybe you're at Epcot and that shirt's available at Hollywood Studios. So now you can go over there and grab it. Yeah,
that is a pretty handy feature.
Or it's also handy that maybe you're at Mouse Gears in Epcot, but they don't have it at Mouse Gears, but they have it at the America Pavilion and in the back of the park.
Right.
So it can help you with that kind of, it gets to that detail. It'll tell you the store it's at.
And you don't have to be on property for that feature to work.
Correct.
because I think I've used it before at home where it'll say in-store only, and I know that we're heading up to the parks.
Right.
So I'll go to the app and I'll look. It'll say in-store only, and then I'll click on it, and it will tell me. This way I'll know, oh, wait a second, what I'm looking for is only at Magic Kingdom, or what I'm looking for is only at Epcot, or whatever the case may be. And then we can alter our itinerary.
Sure.
Because we can say, you know what, I need to go here because the item that I'm looking for is only available here.
Right. Yeah, we need to go here first, just in case.
So just as a summary, for shipping, did they both offer free shipping?
The Shop Disney Parks app sometimes does not.
So sometimes not.
Right.
Whereas,
it's a more of a promotional thing, so it's you're probably more likely to not get it.
Right, but the Shop Disney one, it's almost all the time they'll have a free code for 75.
Right.
So
I don't think I've ever not seen that.
Right. So that's one difference is shipping and discounts.
Right.
You said Shop Disney, no pass holder discount, but yes to DVC, or not DVC, to
Disney Visa.
Disney Visa. DVC is Disney Vacation Club, which they might have, but we're not Vacation Club members, so we didn't look into that too much.
Yeah, I don't know which ones have it. I don't even want to speculate. But
Right, but so they have different discounts on the two apps. They have different shipping on the two apps. And the other big difference is on the Shop Disney Parks app, you can actually look for things.
Right. And it's more parks related. As opposed to, because the other big thing is Shop Disney has Ethan Allen furniture. It has Levi's. It has all these extra partnerships. That's where you're going to go for the bulk of your Disney geared merchandise, as opposed to the Disney Parks app just has stuff that's in the park. So
what's the takeaway on the two?
Well, if you're searching for something, look at both.
Right. That's true. It never hurts to look at both.
Right.
So they're both pretty good apps. You know what else is pretty good?
What's that?
Black Friday shopping.
I wouldn't know. I slept through most of it.
Did you?
I did.
No, you didn't. Well, you might have slept in, but you got a lot done. When I came home, there was a lot of great stuff done around the house.
Yeah, but that's not shopping. That was
you didn't. Yeah, you didn't shop on Black Friday, but I did.
Yep.
Because
actually, that's not true. We did go to Best Buy on Black Friday.
We went to Best Buy on Thanksgiving.
We drove past Best Buy on Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and then we did go later in the day.
Yeah, like 30 minutes before they closed, which there was no line. So
yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Of course, we didn't buy anything because we didn't need anything.
Yeah, we just went to see if they had anything.
Right.
But I went Black Friday shopping, and I did it at Disney Springs.
Right.
Drove all the way up to Disney Springs just to go shopping. But it was fun. I went with my friend Star. So shout out to Star. You can find her on Instagram. She's Fab Oils, Fab Life. She sells doTERRA, the oils.
Right.
So I have a couple of those, but that's another discussion for another day.
Right.
You know, the best oils. You know, if you want to know about oils, go to Fab Oils, Fab Life on Instagram, and she could tell you all about it. But she and I have been friends for a long time now, and we have been going Black Friday shopping for years and years. It's tradition.
Right.
And last year we also went to Disney Springs, and let me digress for a second. A few years ago, and I really miss this, and hopefully Disney people will listen and they'll hear me saying this. They had something called the benefit sale.
Right.
And that was, you paid a small fee. It was like $5, maybe $10, but then they had like special sales. And that was not on Black Friday. It was usually the beginning of November.
Right. Well, we should go back. It was a benefit sale that benefited a charity.
Right.
Which is where that fee went. So it was,
right. The fee went to the charity.
Right.
It was like a donation.
And it, like you said, it didn't happen on Black Friday. It happened in the earlier part of November.
Correct.
And what it was is also they opened Disney Springs up early, very early. So basically, the benefit sale was done by the time they opened for normal business.
Right. And in order to go into the stores early, you had to get that wristband that you paid the $5 or $10 donation, whatever the amount was. But it was worth it. One, because it was benefiting a charity, and two, because they had really, really great specials.
Sure.
So I do miss that. And I hope that they bring it back. I mean, I'm sure the logistics of it are why they haven't done it. Because Disney's really great about giving back. Right now they have the Share Your Ears.
Right.
Where if you...
Well, a lot of those things probably... I don't want to say they will come back, but a lot of those... Because they used to do a lot of interesting things at Disney Springs, but then they stopped because they were doing construction. So it was always... So like the benefit sales stopped when they started building the garages and all that other stuff, because now how do you handle all those extra people? And it's just for them it would be a lot of extra work
Right.
for that. But now that most of that construction is done, maybe once they finish the west side a little more with what they're planning to do, maybe we'll see, because we used to see there used to be a car show, there used to be
Right.
all those things.
But that's what I was saying. I mean, Disney is always so good about giving back to the community.
Sure.
They do give back a lot. And as what I was saying is right now they have this Share Your Ears. So you just post a picture of yourself wearing your Mickey ears and they'll donate $5 to Make-A-Wish. So, I mean, Disney really cares about the community. So I'm sure that it's just a matter of logistics, like you were just saying, that they're still doing, as much as the construction is done in Disney Springs is great. And to most people, it looks almost finished,
Sure.
But there still is a lot of construction going on. So that probably has a lot to do with why they didn't do an event such as the benefit sale.
Oh, sure.
So because they didn't do an event, that's why my friend and I said, you know what, we both love Disney. Let's drive up to Disney and we'll go shopping there.
Right.
So that's what we did. And for the most part, the majority of stores were opened at their normal time,
Right.
which was like 9 or 10 o'clock. I mean, we got up there at about 9:15 and we
Right.
were hungry. We wanted breakfast and we wanted to go to Earl of Sandwich, but they weren't open.
Sure.
They didn't open until 9. And the Pin store was closed because, the Pin store and Earl of Sandwich are right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But a few minutes before 9, the Pin store opened. So we went ahead and shopped that store while we waited for the Earl of Sandwich to open.
Right.
By the time we got out of the store, there was a little line had formed. Not a big deal. So we waited online, we got our breakfast, and then we basically started our day.
Sure.
The co-op did open early. That opened at 8 a.m. And I'm giving that information from people that posted on Facebook in one of the purse groups that I'm in.
Right.
Because the reason they opened early is they did a release of a Disney Dogs Dooney purse,
Mm-hmm.
matching dress, and matching magic band.
Right.
Not my style. I was glad it wasn't my style because in the last episode, we talked about Mickey's 90th and both Dooney and Harvey's came out with purses for the 90th. So I didn't really need another purse.
Right.
I don't know if I ever really need another purse, but
Well, need is such a strong word.
yeah. So I personally was glad I wasn't a fan of it. It's really cute. It was very popular. It's very pink. But hey, if you wanted one and got one, then I'm very happy for you. I'm just happy I saved my money.
Sure.
So Co-op opened to drop early, as did, I believe, Ever After Jewelry,
Right.
because they released an Alex and Ani rose gold bracelet, which I did purchase.
Mhm.
But honestly, there seemed to be a adequate stock.
Right.
It wasn't, I don't know, because we didn't get to that side of Disney Springs, right at the opening. So I don't know what kind of line Ever After had.
Right.
I know that the Co-op did have a line because, again, saw someone posting and they were like, yeah, we got here early because there was a line. I mean, some people were getting there before like 5 a.m. or something, but more
Right.
power to them. There were some specials at the stores. I know you were looking at it earlier, the specials that they had. My friend Star and I didn't notice them too much because, except for the Alex and Ani bracelet that I did end up purchasing, I did want the holiday bag purchase with purchase. I had a short list of a couple things I wanted, but honestly, I think, though I could be mistaken, that everything that I purchased, I probably could purchase on our next trip. I don't think I really bought anything that's not going to be available. Maybe some of the items I bought might sell out, but
Right.
you never know. But still, we went up there just for the fun of it.
Right.
One of the things I wanted was at Kate Spade. They were having 30% off.
Right.
Of course, you could get that at katespade.com.
Sure.
on their regular merchandise, their Disney merchandise, everything is well, I don't want to say everything, but you would have to go to the website to verify that, but it is 30% off. And I believe at a certain price point, you get free shipping. But what I learned when I was in Kate Spade was I asked if they gave any discounts, and the woman explained to me that if you are a pass holder and you're buying merchandise that they sell inside of the parks, they do have like a Minnie Mouse backpack and a Minnie Mouse keychain and a couple of mini items,
Right.
Minnie Mouse items. So if you are buying one of those items that they sell inside of the park, since you are a pass holder and get 20% off inside of the park, they will give you 20% off inside of the store.
Sure.
However, the store was offering 30% and you can't stack discounts.
Sure.
So I just got the 30%, but it was still kind of neat that I learned that.
Right.
So another thing we did was we walked the Christmas tree trail.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I haven't done that yet, but I think you should do it because I think you would enjoy it.
Right.
It's not a long walk at all, which is nice.
Right.
It's not like you have to start on this trek and then go all out of your way. It's not too long of a walk. So it's a nice little side thing to do. And inside of the Christmas tree trail is a concession stand where you could purchase things such as the snowman stein that they offer this year, or the Pluto popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And they did have like pretzels and Rice Krispie treats. They had drinks and snack items there. What I thought was interesting was there was a MAC makeup station.
Interesting.
Yeah. It looked appropriate. It was festive looking and shiny.
Mm-hmm.
I did take a picture of it. It did look really shiny. But yeah, there was a little MAC makeup station. So they really utilized the space.
Right.
Because this is like the outskirt of the Disney Springs. It's not it's not within the normal walkway. It's on the outside walkway where they put this trail. So it's kind of nice that they use the space, because there was also a shopping area, a Disney shopping area where you could get, like the light up, lights, the light up necklace that look like lights, very festive holiday type merchandise. It was bigger than like a little kiosk. It had a cover and everything.
Sure.
So they had a nice little area. What I also found out at the beginning of the trail is they still have Mickey's 90th birthday buttons. So I don't know how many they have left, but if you are traveling to Walt Disney World to Disney Springs at the end of November or beginning of December, and you did not get a Mickey's 90th birthday button, you might want to check and see, because it's possible that they'll have them. They did have them when we were there. But what my friend and I did this year, which we haven't done previously, but we had seen it, is the Stitch's Holiday Gift Hunt. And you pick up a book, and at the beginning of the book, it says, "'Twas a day of festivities, and all through the springs, an alien was shopping, but forgot a few things. Now you found his lost list, so here's what you do. Shop for his Ohana as you follow his clues. Stitch hides in the shops. How many gifts will you find? Complete Stitch's gift list for a festive surprise." So that was really cute. You pick up this little book, and this is free. Totally free thing that you can do. If you have done Remy's Hide and Squeak at Epcot during Food and Wine, very similar concept, except for with Remy's Hide and Squeak, you're looking for Remy's and they're like, I don't know what they're made out of, but they might be resin or plastic, but they're little statues.
Right.
They didn't invest the same money to create this, this hunt. These were just little poster pictures of Stitch with an item, but it's the same concept where you go, you locate Stitch, you look and see what Stitch is holding in the picture, and then there's a sticker inside of this book that you pick up and you put the sticker on the page. So we did that, and we actually started it at Star Wars Galactic Outpost, which is in Westside.
Right.
And it turned out to be the furthest store. So we actually did the book backwards, but you can start at any point. Sure. I mean, wherever they have the books, which should be Christmas Tree Trail, Once Upon a Toy, Marketplace Co-op, Emirates Patisserie, The Ganachery, and Star Wars Galactic Outpost. They had the book.
Right.
That's also where you can turn in the book for the little surprise.
Sure.
So we picked up the book at Star Wars, ended up doing it backwards, and then got our little keepsake. And what was funny was not because we weren't really looking inside of the book too much, but one of the places, there's 12 stops. One of them is Wolfgang Puck Express. So we had to go in there to look for the Stitch. So it was lunchtime. We were hungry. So we ended up eating there. And while we were at the register, the gentleman ringing us up was like, "Oh, do you want to use your 20% discount?" And we're like, "What? That's pass holder?" He's like, "No, pass holder discount is 10%. But inside the book, there was a 20% discount.
Right.
So my point is, even if you don't want to go looking for all the Stitches, you might want to pick up a book for yourself because there are a couple of coupon codes inside of there. Wolfgang Puck, not Wolfgang Puck, the restaurant, but Wolfgang Puck Express.
Right.
Gave the 20% off. And I know that there were a lot of dining specials for Black Friday. Like I remember reading Joffrey's was doing like free latte art. And I think they had like 20% off or something. I don't want to misspeak. It doesn't matter really because it passed, but they did have a lot of specials. But I find that a lot of the specials they had, especially at stores like Kate Spade or Sperry or, stores that aren't only located on property, they were giving the same discounts at Disney Springs that they would be giving countrywide at any of their other locations.
Yeah, a lot of them are similar. It's, it'll be purchased with or something free with a purchase or big sales on select items or those kinds of things. That's what a lot of the discounts were. Even the dining is, just going through looking at some of them. It's, Bongo's had special mojitos. Deluxe Burger had 15% off of mobile orders because they're now serving breakfast. But I don't think that was specifically Black Friday. I think they're just trying to promote that they now have breakfast, so they're giving you a discount.
We've talked about this before, especially if you were a pass holder or Tables in Wonderland or TVC, whatever you might participate in that they sometimes offer a discount. I always say it doesn't hurt to ask. So if you do go to Disney or Disney Springs, you go to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, and not just during the holiday season, whatever store you're going to, just remember to ask.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely always something going on at a lot of places. Like here, they're talking about. I mean, a lot of the restaurants did have specials that were only good on Black Friday. But then like here, STK Orlando, which is the steakhouse that's at Disney Springs, on Black Friday, well, the whole weekend, November 23rd to November 26th, which is the day this is getting released.
Right.
So if you're still there and you're listening, rush over.
Right.
But they were running a special, receive $50 back when you bought a $100 gift card.
Oh, that's a great discount.
That's huge.
I wish I had read that. I would have run over there and bought one.
Right.
Because that would give us an excuse to go back.
Sure. And then, but they're also saying ask about other gift card specials, and that's a lot of companies do that. They'll give you buy a $100 gift card for $80 or buy a $100 gift card and get $20 extra or.
Yeah, that seems to be a common practice now over the holidays where you buy a gift card and you'll basically get back a gift card worth 20%.
Right.
That you can use at a later date. So it's the equivalent of a 20% discount. That is very common, but buy 100 and get 50. That's a really good deal.
Right. And that
was at STK.
Yeah, receive $50 back for a $100 gift card purchase. So it doesn't even sound like you had to spend $100 and then you would get an extra $50. It sounded like you spent $50 and you got a $100 gift card. So
well, go there for details to make sure that
of course
that we're reading it correctly. But
that's a couple of the restaurants had really good deals, but just on that weekend. So it always pays to look. Next year, 2019, it definitely pays to hop on the Disney website and look at all the specials that are out there because some of them, most of them are normal, but every once in a while you see one that's crazy good because a lot of these were nothing. Like I said, they're all normal.
Right. And so when you were talking about the apps earlier in the podcast, and I said, what's the takeaway? And we compared the two. So the takeaway for shopping at Disney Springs on Black Friday it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't anything that I couldn't do any other day of the year. Couple small things going on or small discounts that maybe aren't available. But that's not to say that next year won't be different.
Sure.
Last year they did a release of some bags that they made out of old uniforms. People that the costumes that they wore to Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror were made into bags and purses.
Right.
So that was the shtick last year. Every year it's a little bit different. So if you're going to be in the Orlando area on Black Friday or around the holidays, definitely look at it, double check, because you never know. And sometimes they don't announce it until a week or two before the event.
Sure.
So glad I went. Don't know if we're going to do it again next year. We'll probably hit up a different mall because we have to go shopping, but we don't, it just depends on how the year falls.
Well, you never know.
Exactly.
You might see a great special.
Exactly. I'm going to be looking for it.
How about the other question, the big question that people will wonder is, how crowded was it?
That's a good question.
Right.
And honestly, if I remember last year, I felt like it was pretty empty at the beginning last year. But then, as it got to 11 or 12, it did get a little more busy.
Of course.
This year, I felt like it got busy earlier.
Right.
However, I don't feel like the crowds were any worse than a Friday or Saturday night at Disney Springs.
Right.
It was busy.
Sure.
But it wasn't like I can't walk. It wasn't as if anytime I went to make a purchase, I had to wait in a long line. Because,
right.
I mean, I didn't make too many purchases. As I said, I bought the Alex and Ani bracelet at Ever After. They rang me up right away.
Sure.
But I got to that store after the initial release.
Right.
When they might have had a line. Same with the co-op. The co-op, while we were there, not in the dress shop part, but you actually, and this is actually a good tip for the co-op. If you purchase something in the co-op, this probably does not hold true for the phone case portion because there's 6 like mini stores.
Yep.
But you don't have to pay at that register.
Right.
So if you're in the dress shop and you want to go to the home goods shop,
sure,
you can take your dress and go ring it up over there, which is another tip that I just remembered. There's a fitting room in the dress shop. There's a fitting room diagonal from it in that men's shop.
Right.
When you first walk into the co-op
Sure.
from the sidewalk, there's like a men's store, men's clothing.
Yep.
There's a fitting room in there as well.
That makes sense.
So if the women's
men have to try on clothes too.
Exactly. Right. So if the women's room is busy, you can take the dress because it's all basically one big store.
Correct.
So you don't have to purchase at that register.
Right.
You can go bring it to another register. But I ended up buying the holiday bag and I was able to get rung up right away. So the lines, the crowds weren't too bad. I think it really depended on what you were doing. I will tell you what was horrible. Absolutely, positively horrible. Not for us. Inside of the Christmas tree trail is where they set up Santa. And there was a wait because you could see the sign. I took a picture of it. And I believe that as we were walking in, it was 150 minutes.
Right.
Then we're walking through the trail. And when we got to where Santa is, it then said 180 minutes. Then we ended up walking outside of the trail, but we had to go back to the beginning of the trail for something. I think it might have just been to pick up our little gift because that was like the closest of all the places you can pick it up.
Right.
So we went back to the front of the trail. It was then 210 minutes for Santa. 210 minutes is 3.5 hours.
Yep.
To meet Santa. But honestly, and I meant to look into it. I was like, I wonder if they give you a time to come back. Because I didn't see like a long line anywhere. I just saw these signs saying the wait for Santa is 150. And then I saw it was 180. And then I saw it was then 210.
Well, that's a good question because before they used to set up Santa just outside of World of Disney, next to the, in between, where Ghirardelli Basin and World of Disney is. And that always had a good line to it, when we've passed by it, but it certainly wasn't, 3 to 4 hours kind of line. So, but now I wonder maybe they do have that because, managing a 4-hour line is
Right.
is a big deal. So
Right. And I believe that they do something similar for those that are disabled.
right.
Instead of, just letting them go on the fast pass line because people unfortunately took advantage of it. Now
Sure.
you can still get, they still want to help you. They don't want to make you wait online, but basically you get an assigned time to come back.
Sure.
This way you're basically doing the same thing without taking advantage,
Right.
and
Exactly.
you can only sign up for one at a time.
Right.
So I have a feeling, but again, don't quote me on this because I didn't really look at it, but being that I didn't see any long lines, I have a feeling that you just register for a time to come back.
Right.
So that was basically the trip. We had a good trip and, we had a good time, and we'll see if they offer anything special next year to entice us to go back there, or if we're just going to shop around town.
Well, it's just funny how you describe the crowd levels because, like last year it wasn't as bad early in the morning. So this year they did less special stuff, but now the crowd came back. So now it's like, are they going to flip-flop around?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you never know. Plus, the dog bag is a good example. That was so popular. I mean, in the Facebook groups that I'm in that are dedicated to Disney Doonies and Disney Coach and, all the Disney designer bags.
Sure.
So many women in there just love it.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at it and I just wasn't a fan for multiple reasons.
Well, the big question is, did they have any when you got there?
Well, that's another interesting point because when we were leaving, I was looking more on social media and I noticed that a lot of people at Disneyland were complaining because the stores had all sold out.
Mm-hmm.
They had it at, I believe they had it at more locations in Disneyland. And they had sold out. It was like sold out. When we got to the co-op, because it was close to Earl of Sandwich, as I said, we walked into Earl of Sandwich at 9:00 because that's when the doors opened. We had to order. We had to wait for our food. So I want to say we left there around 9:30.
Sure.
For argument's sake, we left there at 9:30. The co-op had been open since 8:00.
Right.
And so we got to the co-ops probably, if I remember correctly, I would say sometime between 9:30 and 9:45.
Right.
And yes, they still had everything left. And then I was looking online because people were asking, like, do they have bags? Is it worth driving over there?
Mm-hmm.
And other people that were at the parks, at 1:00, at 2:00 were posting, yes, they still have all styles available.
Right.
So they did get a decent amount of bags. I know that they had the Magic Band available online, but they limited the number of Magic Bands they sold because those ended up selling out online.
Right.
I'm not sure if they sold out in the park at that time
Right.
as well. I'm not sure how they handled the inventory for that. But inventory is another question. I mean, Dooney and Harvey's are very different animals.
Sure.
The reason I bring up Harvey's is Harvey's also has releases. They make Disney bags. Not all their bags are Disney, but same with Dooney. Not all their bags are Disney.
Right.
A lot of people complain because Harvey's has very limited stock and they go online and, within 2-3 minutes, what the person is looking for is sold out.
Right.
But Harvey's is an American company located in California and they do produce their items in California.
Sure.
So, I'm okay with it being limited because I know I'm getting an American-made product.
Right.
Glad to be able to support an American company. Dooney, I don't believe that they're made in America.
Right.
So, I mean, they might be. I don't want to misspeak. I'm not sure. But, they're a little more mass-produced, so they probably knew based on previous sales of previous bags, they probably had an idea of how quickly they may or may not sell out. So they may have made sure that they had availability.
Sure.
So, but like I said, I was just glad I didn't want it because I had spent plenty, the week preceding. So I really didn't need to be doing any major purchases. So, but on that, I'm pretty hungry.
All right.
So I need to go get something to eat. Oh, did we say, before I do that, don't want to forget, subscribe if you haven't already.
Please.
So you can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast system, Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse, social media.
Facebook. Instagram, Twitter, Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse.
YouTube.
And YouTube. You can listen on YouTube.
2 grown-ups and a mouse.
Yep.
Or our website.
TwoGrownUpsAndAMouse.com.
Yeah, we make it pretty easy. So if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. We're glad to have you, but I really am starving, so I really need to go get something to eat. And on that note, I will say good night.
Not good morning.
I could say good morning. I could say good afternoon.
Good evening.
How about goodbye?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.